Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and Flashforge has two new 3D printers on the way that are not the Guider 4 and the Guider 4 Pro. It would appear that those two printers have been put out to pasture because Flashforge saw the writing on the wall and thought, you know what? We need to move ahead with what is going to be the next wave of consumer-based 3D printing, and that is tool changers. So the next two Flashforge printers are tool changers, and they are called the Creator 5 and the Creator 5 Pro. We are going to take a look at some of the specs and some of the different things about this printer that comes from totally official source, the Flashforge Wiki. Now, before I get into it, I do want to give props to the YouTube channel LT3D because that is how I found out that these printers existed. I didn't see it anywhere else before I ran into that video. So I definitely do just want to give a shout out to that channel because that video came out more than 24 hours prior to whenever you're going to see this. All right. So let's take a look at the Flashforge Wiki to see the introduction to the Creator 5 and the Creator 5 Pro. It is a next generation of high-speed, multi-head desktop 3D printers. All right, so take a look at this. Now, as we're looking at this, they seem to have a similar design philosophy that the old Guider 4 and Guider 4 Pro had as well. But the big difference here is for the Creator 5 Pro, since it is a tool changer, it has those 4 reels of filament on the side, whereas for the Guider 4 Pro, it didn't come with the IFS that you see in the 85X now, but the original Guider 4 did have the IFS included by default, but it's different now. So you can see for the Creator 5 Pro, they're incorporating that giant dome that we are seeing on these types of printers to accommodate for the tall wires that are necessary for tool changes. So it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting away from that anytime soon. But for the regular Creator 5, it is not enclosed and just has those 4 reels of filament on the side, reminiscent to what we see on the 85X. Now, let's take a look at this introduction here because there are some interesting tidbits of information that Flashforge has put in here. And these are some really detailed things, actually, if you really want to get deep down into it. We're showing you where everything is and where it's going to and how it's going to work. So you can see where all of these extruders are parked along the right side of the printer as opposed to being in the back, like how the Snapmaker U1 works or the Prusa XL. Those are all in the back. But for this one, they put it along the right side. And it's going to be doing a similar thing. You got this extruder mount that's going to be printing whatever filament that you have, and it's just going to move in between these 4 different docks to get whichever filament that you need in order to continue along with the project. So let's just go down and take a look at some of these other components and then see some other pieces of information that Flashforge has about this. Now, check out this diagram. It tells us some very interesting things about this printer and what it's going to include, including a chamber light that's going to be by default. There's our auxiliary cooling fan, an air filter, front door, communication port. We also have the power socket and the power switch that is located on the back, PCB cooling vent, the chamber exhaust fan. By the way, this printer, the Creator 5 Pro, does have an active heated chamber. So that's going to be good for your more engineering grade materials there. There's our display screen, which is going to be an upgraded screen, a different screen, an easier to manage screen than what we've seen on the 85X. Got a USB port down here as well. The chamber heating intake is right there. And we get close-up pictures of the extruder mount assembly. I mean, they really went all in here. We got images of the extruder mount PCB. There's a look at the cooling fan, the Y-axis homing sensor. This is great if you really want to get deep down into the technical aspects of this, because I know a lot of people really do want this type of information about these kinds of printers. Other folks, more similar to me, just want it to work well. But if you really want to see all the bits and pieces that goes into making this work the way that it does, this is for you. Check out this nozzle assembly here. definitely is not the same nozzle assembly that we would see on the 85X here. So you see you got that wiring harness right there. They also tell you how to swap the whole thing out as well. It doesn't appear like it's going to be the quick swap like we have with the 85X. Maybe it's a little bit more involved in that, but there's the cooling fan right there. Has a standard 0.4 millimeter nozzle with an optional 0.25, 0.6, and 0.8 millimeter hardened steel nozzles for the 0.6 and 0.8, I am assuming, but we'll see if they are all hardened steel just for the heck of it, but we'll see. There's some more information here about the feed gear and the cutter. There's a look at the feed gear here that appears to be metal. And here's the filament inlet. Now, one thing about this that I think is interesting, it does not automatically feed the filament. You have to do it manually. So you know how things like on the Snapmaker U1, and if you're not familiar with it, the way that it works is once you start feeding the filament in through the proper ports, then it grabs the filament and it just pulls it all the way to the extruder. Apparently that's not going to be the case for this. You're going to have to manually feed the filament all the way to the extruder. So it's not going to be automatic. I'll see if we can, if I can find where it actually says that here, because I did see it and I did read it from here. This Creator 5 Pro also has a number of sensors. One sensor that it has that the regular Creator 5 doesn't have is the ability to detect when the door and when the upper cover of the printer is open. So they have sensors to detect that. Here's a look at the display screen. It is a 4-inch 800 by 480 full color touch screen, which feels smoother to touch. I wonder if it's capacitive this time around. But what I really like is that it says, additionally, the screen connection has been redesigned into a quick plug-and-play interface, enabling fast plugging and unplugging, making installation and replacement more convenient than the original device. I think that's fantastic because those ribbon cables absolutely suck and they give me anxiety. So I'm glad that they have this quick plug-and-play interface now. More looks about the printer. The size of the bed, the way that they described it is the size is 256 by 256 millimeters squared. The maximum temperature of the bed goes up to 120 degrees Celsius. Some more electrical components here. It's got a filtration system right here, and it has a built-in camera. Both the Creator 5 and the Creator 5 Pro have built-in 1920 by 1080p 30 frames per second high definition camera so that you can monitor your print remotely via the slicing software or cloud services. But it also runs on LAN if you want it to run on LAN. But let's take a look at these FAQs. These FAQs also provide some really good information. So we're going to start with the Creator 5 Pro, and it says that it supports a wide range of filaments, including PLA, PETG, TPU from 90A to 95A, TPU 64D, silk, PLA carbon fiber, PETG carbon fiber, PVA, which is a water-soluble support material, BVOH, ABS, ASA, I mean, basically whatever filament that you would expect to use in this type of consumer printer, not Peak or Ultim, anything crazy like that. But your carbon fibers, your glass fibers, your ABSs, your stuff like that, you'll be good to go. Recommended for your PLAs, TPU 9095A, PETG carbon fiber, PLA carbon fiber, S-Multi, S-Path. I honestly don't know what that is, but it's also capable of polycarbonate and nylon and PCABS and PPS-CF, limited on small models. So that's probably going to tell you, it probably won't keep it from warping if you, get some really big parts and you're printing with this type of filament, but it is possible if you believe in yourself. So here's what I was talking about earlier when I said that it does not have an automatic loading mechanism for the filament, and that the filament needs to be fed manually through the filament inlet and pulled through the tube to the extruder. So this is the filament inlet right here on the side of the machine. It tells you how you unload the filament on it. There's a filament cutter that you can press and then you pull the filament out. It's not going to do it for you. Another interesting thing is how to remove the nozzle assembly. So you see there are 2 screws here that you'll have to take out, and then you have to detach the extruder assembly from the dock, and then you pinch the silicone sock and pull the nozzle assembly downward as shown. All right, so that's how you remove the nozzle assembly. So it doesn't look like it's going to be that quick swap method that we have gotten used to with the Adventure 5M series as well as the 85X. The heated chamber can go up to 65 degrees Celsius. That is great. And then they have the loudness, the decibel level at 55 decibels in silent mode. Let's see, what else can we have? Oh, and this is great. They finally came into the modern age with different types of detection features to help you not completely ruin your print, because it has built-in sensors for filament runout detection, filament tangle detection, finally, door open protection, and chamber temperature detection, ensuring safe and stable printing, and AI detection, including spaghetti detection and foreign object detection. These features were needed, were sorely lacking in Flashforge printers, but now they are finally coming to the forefront the way that it should be. Now, you can use this without an internet connection. You can connect it to your LAN, but if you do that, then you won't be able to use the accompanying mobile app in LAN mode. That's something that you won't be able to do. All right. And also, if you used Flash Cloud or Polar Cloud in the past, they're going away. Flash Cloud has been discontinued. It now adopts a new cloud service with app-based account connecting, and Polar Cloud is no longer supported due to its slow speed and low user base. And then finally, we just got some estimated times here for how long it takes for the printer to, for example, heat the bed from 25 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. They say it's going to be at around 250 seconds. And to heat the nozzle from 25 Celsius to 200 degrees Celsius, 20 seconds. Heating it up to 300 degrees Celsius, 45 seconds. So under a minute, okay, that's fine. That's not bad. All right, there's our max flow rate, 32 millimeters cubed per second. If you're interested in that type of thing, clearance requirements give you the clearance requirements for the right side as well as for the front. I think that's really helpful. And then the last thing that I am going to show here briefly is just the FAQ for the Creator 5. It's mostly the same thing, except for the Creator 5, it tells you that if you want to upgrade the 5 to the 5 Pro, that is a no-go. The Creator 5 cannot be upgraded to the Creator 5 Pro because the Creator 5 Pro features structural differences such as an active heated chamber module and adaptive air circulation system. So it's going to be one or the other. So there's not going to be any upgrades from that, but it still has the sensors that's going to detect the filament tangling and the spaghetti detection, foreign object detection. And then, there's some other pages here that's going to, help you with some issues that you might have with this printer when it comes out, some photos of what you have to do to kind of fix that. And there's a error code list that is yet to be updated, some firmware stuff that, has yet to be updated, so there's still plenty of things that they have to add to this. The competition is definitely heated up. We got the Snapmaker U1 that a lot of people are falling in love with, but then we also have what I think is the underdog. The WonderMaker ZR is going to be coming out in the not too distant future. That's also a Toolchanger. There's also an enclosed version of that. So maybe we can get a little bit of head-to-head going on between the Creator 5 and the Creator 5 Pro versus the WonderMaker ZR Ultra and the WonderMaker ZR Ultra S. Because, they look so similar. We'll be able to see what the big differences are between them, closed versus open and all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling on and on. So like I said, if you are interested in this, check out the link in the description. It'll take you over to this wiki. You can read everything, but it's great to see that Flashforge is not falling behind in the tool head changing wars right now in 3D printers. So that's going to do it for now. I'll give you more information as it becomes available, if it is big enough to warrant another video. So until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.